More than 2 minutes to go in this round. Anthony Joshua is a composed and ferocious finisher. Watch this.
21 knockouts in 21 wins for Anthony Joshua. The chest with the right hand. Ruiz is staggered and an uppercut, trying to hold on. Strafing right. Ruiz comes to fire back, and Joshua's hurt. Oh, Joshua goes down. Andy Ruiz caught him with a sharp left hook. Joshua's hurt.
To evade.
Down goes Young on a thunderous left hook.
And that is the vaulted power that we're talking about. Nonito Donaire at this weight class, 118 pounds. Everybody better watch out.
Who the fuck is he talking about?
Oh, great shot from Fury. Terrific right hand. Oh, and down he goes. Right hand, left hand. And I don't think he's going to get up. I think it's all over. I think it's over. Is he going to get up? Can he get up? Can he get up? He does. Oh, my goodness. Somehow Fury has managed to get up.
The contract's been signed for February 22nd. Agree it, or you will have a lawsuit on your head. You little maggot!
Another 1-2.
Look at Mayorga. Fights on. Let me tell you, Mayorga, this gets Mayorga into it. He just let him hit him a left hand. Look at him.
Right hand. And look at Mayorga.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wow, they're hit Brazil so hard. They are feeling it in Brazil. Mamma mia. What a KO.
He clearly landed more power shots, and if Triple G didn't have the chin of God, he would have been knocked the fuck out.
I tell you what, he could have knocked out a racehorse with that left hook.
Right hand up one, and he has to come behind the jab, to get close.
Oh! One punch knockdown. What a shot by the young star. This fight is over.
Fantastic fitness levels here from Lewis Whitson here in his last round. Bobat, firing shot. That's it. 15-12 punch combination from Buckland Davies.
Terrific action in the last round, just like there was in the first three.
I feel like you just fucking me with no Vaseline.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, podcast form, iTunes, Spotify, radio, etc. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Gonna be talking all things boxing, like I said, and joined, as usual on these shows, by the one and only, the notorious, and the guy that just made the new intro for the show right there. Way to go, Rob. UK Robbie Hearns, second cousin, twice removed. Rob, how you doing, man?
Yeah, doing good. I hope people like the new intro. We'll switch around and play old ones and new ones. And anyone who wants give any certain clips that they want adding to an intro, and maybe what sort of genre of music they want in the back. But we can try and it's nice to have different ones to come into. But yeah, no Gary, he's off to watch some rubbish card in Reno or something.
I forget which card exactly he's going to watch, to be honest. Is it
I got confused last week because he said something like Shakur's fighting in Reno, not Vegas. And I went, he's going to Shakur, but I think it's going to the other one.
No, he's going to the Angel Tito Acosta card with Elwin Soto, right? The Golden Boy card.
That's it.
I think he is. I could be wrong. Gary's going to some card, I think, and maybe he's going to get some content for us. I don't know. But digressing from that, obviously we have the Lomachenko news that is, Rob. I mean, where do we even start with this, man? Like, we're going to get to the Lomachenko WBC franchise champion status. That is just, again, complete and utter horseshit. Plus, Jermall Charlo back in the news. Obviously, he has a fight coming up with Dennis Hogan, but a lot of guys have been talking about wanting to face him next, including Canelo and Andrade. We're going to talk about those two call-outs, the possibility of them, plus, obviously, everything else in the boxing world, news, rumors, all that fun stuff. But let's get to the fun topic of the day, Rob, which is Lomachenko being the franchise champion, the second franchise champion in the WBC. The news was first broken by Lance Pugmire, I want to say it was yesterday around 2:14 p.m., hearing that WBC Boxing is going to elevate Vasyl Lomachenko to the lightweight franchise champion today. And then, obviously, later it did happen with Devin Haney being upgraded to the full champion. And Rob, I'm going to let you go for a bit because I really don't know your thoughts on this because we haven't really talked that much about this pre-show. I think everyone knows that I'm going to be trying to calm down my blood pressure as I talk about this topic because I'm very upset about it. But Rob, I want to get your take before I start ranting and raving. Rob, thoughts on...
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I was like, what? You know, we got all the spiel from Mauricio the last time when Canelo was given the, what is it? It's not a championship. It's not a bout.
Designation.
It's a designation. The honor, you know, from all this long, deep history within the WBC and blah, blah, blah. But didn't Loma just win a vacant bout in August? Is that deep history with the WBC? Has he had other WBC bouts?
I don't think so.
So, yeah, I mean, look, Devin Haney's out there. I'm sure deep down inside he didn't want it this way, but he's like, you know, the youngest world champion and whatever. And
that's really bad framing, Devin. That's what I'm pointing out. Same with Eddie. You guys could have framed it better. Just point it out.
Well, Eddie's been today saying things like, look, yes, Devin Haney he's now the WBC champion, but, you know, we didn't want it this way. We were actively trying. We wanted the Lomachenko fight. That was the instructions when Devin and his dad, you know, in meetings, we want to go down the WBC route. We want to face Lomachenko. And, yeah, the WBC have kind of taken that away from us. Now, I know today, or it was explained that he believes, you know, Eddie said that Lomachenko would, you know, the idea of a franchise champion is you take on the big challenges, you make the big fights. So is that fight still on the table? I'm not convinced at the moment. I can't see Devin Haney and Lomachenko's plans right now. But it's, yeah, I don't know. They haven't technically added another bout, but it now means the one that they did have, people don't necessarily value anymore, you know, in a way. These like Charlo and Haney, then it's not like they're actual world champions, if you get me. Sounds harsh on them. I mean, they've done nothing wrong in the situation, but people
of course not.
Really looking at it as they're a world champion. They didn't beat the guy, you know.
Several points I will make. And Rob, can you do me a favor? Your video quality is really bad. Just refresh and jump back in and make it just so much easier. Sorry about that, Rob. You know how it happens. But as Rob is jumping back in and out, back already. Damn, Rob, that was fast. I was not expecting that. Hold on.
You know.
Damn, Johnny on the spot right there. He was ready to go.
Didn't want to miss your rant. Is that better?
It is a lot better. Thank you. Hold on one second. Sorry about this, guys. Live radio. Come on, why is it not working? There we go. Anyways, several points. To the point that you briefly brought up about it's not these fighters' faults. For example, Jermall Charlo with the same situation with Canelo. Of course, it's not their fault. I will say this, though. The way you initially react, I want to make that point very clear, and my words are very specific here. The initial reaction, because the initial reaction is the only thing that people remember, to be honest. If your initial reaction is to congratulate this news, if you're Eddie, Devin Haney, or even in Jermall Charlo's case, that will automatically sour this news even more so to the public. You are naturally in this story, in the narrative, speaking to Haney and to Jermall Charlo, you are the working man fighting the corporation in a way, right? You're fighting the sanctioning body, and they're pushing you down. To then, when they screw you over to say, oh, thanks for the championship, is a sign of sort of, for us as fans, that you are no longer that working man fighting the big man in the sanctioning bodies, which is what kind of the guy working his way up to a mandatory status is in a sense. They have to be that. That's the way the narrative works. And again, when you have this obvious moment in your career where you can even up that tenfold in that narrative and really push it. If you're Jermall Charlo's case, push against the WBC and protecting Canelo. If you're Devin Haney, same exact case, sanctioning bodies protecting Lomachenko. Push that harder. Don't fall back and then say, "Oh, thanks for the belt, thanks for the world title," because we as fans and you as fighters know that's not a legit championship. So it just seems two-faced in a way when your build to this moment was they're hiding this guy, they're keeping him from us. We want to fight this guy, whoever that guy may be, in respective to a mandatory versus champion, right? Because it's the same narrative pretty much in every division and every sanctioned body. To then fold on that narrative, I think, is just a really bad PR move at the very least. Now, to the WBC's obvious misstep here at the very least, at the very worst, is pure sign of just greed at this point in time, which isn't shocking. If you're a sanctioned body, one of your mandates is to put on the best fights. Like, that's why you have the rankings. Like, you're the body that boxing has given the authority to put rankings and control the belts. When you then devalue your rankings and your belts even more and more as the years go on and on, how do we respect you in any way, shape, or form? Like, how do we value you in any way, shape, or form? Like, how? Like, how can we look at the WBC, WBO, WBA, any of these sanctioned bodies that proliferated this splintered system that we have that has further hurt this sport? How can we ever look at you guys in the face and say, you guys are good for us, you guys are good for the sport? Mauricio Suleiman, whoever else is involved here. Like, you guys are the bad guys in this story. To be, just put it very black and white, very elementary level. Like, you guys are the bad guys in this narrative, in this story. And it is sad that so many media members are down there and very few, if any, are asking serious questions about this. And the ones that do ask questions, it's very, care to comment on this? It's a very open-ended question, allowing the subject to get away from any real responsibility. And if you're the sanctioned body, you have one of the highest responsibilities in the sport, along with athletic commissions, along with promoters. You have some of the highest responsibilities in this sport. Fucking do your job. Okay? Making this sport worse, making this sport more fragmented is not doing your job. So, Mauricio Suleiman, kindly and please fuck off. And the entire WBC and every single sanctioning body, again, fuck off. That's all I have to say about it, to be real honest. That this is an utter travesty, and there's gonna be no ramifications for it at all.
No ramifications, no mandatories, no. There's just nothing. It's I don't know, and for it to be Loma. See, Arthur in the chat said Loma has had only one WBC sanctioned fight. Now, the criteria of Canelo getting it was this deep history with the WBC, and I guess he checks a box because with the Canelo thing, it was Canelo's different weight classes, and we know Loma's done his thing and possibly going back down. And it's talking about big fights, but what big fights really is Loma going to be a part of? Does the Tank fight get made? I don't know. It seems way off to me.
I saw someone, I forget who it was. I know who it was. Oh my, it's Ellie fucking Seckback, man. Posted a video on his channel the other day. It was yesterday, right? Obviously, when the news came out that like Loma now franchise champion, easier to make Gervonta fight. And I was like, why would you even put out that video? Like, why? Like, why are you such a suck up to the rich and powerful. Honestly,
How is that even common sense?
it's not at all, and it's a pure PR spin on this bullshit franchise news of, oh, now the big fights are gonna happen. No, why? Why does this? I know that's what you're saying, but like that's what I'm adding to it. Like, why does this make any big fights more likely than they were before?
Does it make Lomachenko suddenly not contracted to ESPN? Does it? Do you know what I mean? What's changed?
I don't know. And again, media down there in Cancun, getting a vacation, do a better job, please.
I mean, all that's changed is Lomachenko doesn't have a bout anymore, and he's no longer the champion.
But here's the thing I don't understand. Like it. Again, like Mauricio Sulaiman's own words, like, this isn't a new belt. We're not creating a new title, which is bullshit, because materially what you're doing is that in name. It may not be a literal physical franchise belt, but you are literally in name making franchise champion and a regular champion, a la what the WBA has done.
Yeah, it's the WBA super title.
You can say you're not making a real belt, but you materially, in the real world, maybe not in a physical sense we can hold on to, but from a effect standpoint, you are. For you to say this is just a designation, I can't believe it has the gumption to do that. Like, I am just, guys, every time I think about this story, I get more frustrated, and I'm at a loss of words, because we knew this was coming, obviously speaking, but man, this was just quick for Loma. Like, I thought Wilder would be first, because he's had obviously a long reign.
Hey, who's next?
He's had a long reign with the WBC championship title, so like that would make sense. Gary Russell has had the belt for a while. Like, there were other names I thought would make more sense, because like you said, Rob, they've been the WBC champion for years now. Mm-hmm. Loma has had one WBC title fight, and a month or two after that, he got named franchise champion. And Devin Haney is now in a position to be full champion, and everyone's acting like it's the best thing in the world. It just...
Yeah, August 31st, he won the title. And we're nearly October 31st, I guess, or whatever. We're at the end of October. This is... I don't know.
And Lunatic saying, adding, that's the thing, we were one fight away from Undisputed being in play. We were. And a similar vein to like middleweight. Like now middleweight's even harder to make Undisputed. Like, again, like
what is the Undisputed fight? What is it? Does it involve the franchise champion?
No. No, because it's like lineal now. Like, it doesn't. It's just like an ethereal thing that doesn't really matter, but is there and gets sold as a promotional thing, and is used to like further make fights harder to make. I don't know.
Yeah,
because there's no mandatories for a franchise champion. If you beat a franchise champion, you don't become a franchise champion. You just get like a silver belt, I want to say, or something like that.
Diamond, I think.
Oh, no. Diamond.
Yeah, which then apparently, if you are a diamond belt holder, you, in special circumstances, can be made mandatory to the franchise champion that doesn't have mandatories. I mean, it's just complete and utter nonsense, and it just leaves fans. You think trying to get new fans into the sport, and you're having to explain this shit. Forget the WBA and all that. You've now got this.
I'm
Wait,
close.
So this guy's got a special belt. No, he hasn't got a belt. He's the franchise. He's the designated or honored champion. So he's a champion. So if someone beats him, do they become that? No, he keeps it forever. Wait, what? I'll leave boxing. Thank you. I'll find another sport. How are you explaining this to a new person?
You don't explain it.
Joke. Just watch the fights and hope that it's a really good one. Forget those shiny trinkets.
Well, that's why like name value means more than a title, and I've said that for a while. And like you've kind of pushed back on that, Rob, but not really. But you kind of have. But I've always been in the mindset. Certain guys like Loma, like a belt means nothing to them because that's not what's used to sell them anymore as being a champion. They just got stripped of a belt and given to an undefeated prospect that hasn't been anyone that's in the top 10. That's a an extreme devaluation of your title. Loma doesn't care, and the casual fans that watch boxing, they don't care. All they know is Loma, and they don't even know about this news probably, right?
I'm telling you, you're going to blink, Matt, and the IBO are going to be the credible belt.
Stop. But to that point, we do have to get to a point in time where we as a community boycott this bullshit. Boycott the sanctioning bodies in some aspect. Now, what would be the replacement to that? I don't know.
I saw a tweet that explained it perfectly. They said,
"Oh no, Rob, you're smiling. I'm worried about what you're about to say."
Their idea was, "Fuck this WBC franchise bullshit. The PBC should just go and make their own belt." So I replied, "Can people not in the PBC fight for this belt?" He didn't reply, but I don't know. I mean, look, the whole Dana
First
White
off, promoters cannot make belts. It's against the Muhammad Ali Act. It's just like it's against the law. Like it's not about like against sanctioning body rules. It's against like congressional legislation. Sorry, Top Rank.
So Dana White's not going to come in and save boxing.
No,
and do his whole UFC model.
No. I've been, you know me, Rob. Don't even stop. But I've been of the mindset that an independent body of some sort, what that independent body would be made up of, whether it be journalists, media members, sort of like a similar to sanctioning bodies, councils like promoters, network execs, they could be in them too, but you would need some sort of oversight. You would need, again, maybe an amendment to like an Ali Act to like really detail a ranking body that's in a singular ranking body, a singular sanctioning body that would get rid of this nonsense. But again, you would need government oversight, and then you would need like the British Boxing Board of Control to also adapt it. And then even then, like, what about Russia? What about France? What about South Africa? What about Brazil? What about Mexico? It's just
France.
Hey, Tony Oka, man, stop.
Oh yeah,
disrespect. He's off his drug suspension. Digressing though.
Also have its own governing body, but never mind.
What was that?
Which drug testing should also have its own governing thing. These are all nice ideas that we're just not going to get, right?
Well, it's not like we're going to get now, but the idea of like we can never get them, I think, is not true. It just would take a lot of work.
True.
It would take a lot of years.
Who thought years ago we'd have a franchise champion?
Well, the example I always bring up that's more legitimate than that joke there, Rob. Like the NBA union took a decade to be recognized from when it was initially formed. You know, like things take a while when it comes to this type of seismic shift in the industry. But digressing from that point. WBC, fucking bullshit when it comes to this news.
Wouldn't we all think a whole lot more of Loma if he just said no thank you?
Absolutely.
I'd love to just defend my WBC belt.
Yes.
Against my mandatory challenger or...
Yep. Agreed.
But now he's a champion. I guess he gets more money. I mean, Devin Haney and things like that. I don't know. It's all a mess, and it's been all over my Twitter, and it's gradually...
If somebody's out there really thinking that because Devin Haney now is a full WBC champion, that he's automatically going to make more money in his next fight, it's just not true. Sorry, guys. That's not how it works.
But Eddie said it.
Awesome. Cool.
I don't know.
Let's sort of briefly go down the WBC convention and sort of what it did in terms of like its rules and mandates. But before we do,
you're going to bring up last year?
Of course I am.
Good man. I like your style.
Of course. And before I bring up all the mandated fights from the WBC convention that have come out, that's all the headlines right now, right? Let's bring up the ones that were mandated last year. And was it Honolulu? I think it was in Hawaii. What a great places to go travel, right? This was in October 3rd, 2018. Major fights the WBC order today. This is via Michael Benson. Gennady Golovkin versus Jermall Charlo. Rob, did that happen?
I think, was it a split decision or
No, wait, no, it didn't happen. No.
No, there was no.
No, that didn't happen. Keith Thurman versus Sean Porter too. Did that happen?
The first one did.
The first one definitely did because there's a second one. Or is
no,
there a
I
second
didn't
one?
see that. I
No?
missed that one. I don't think ITV showed it.
Good ITV joke right there. Gary Russell versus Leo Santa Cruz.
What a fight that would have been.
Jorge Linares versus Adrian Broner. A fight that I actually still would like to see, to be honest.
You sick pervert.
Sorry. Mikey Garcia versus Luke Campbell.
Nope.
It's bullshit.
Anthony Guerrero versus Avani Yildirim. Hey, that one happened.
Yeah.
That one happened. Hey, there we go. We got one. We got one, guys. Which we gotta say is the worst one of the bunch.
That holiday in the sun was worth it.
And then we have J-Rock versus Eslon Laura, which didn't happen, obviously. But it now could happen because it's the whole Jared Hurd situation. But digressing, guys. Let's get to
bring up the list of the new ones that won't happen.
The new ones, guys. This is good. Okay.
That won't happen.
Let me go by division here, okay? So
start at the top.
Of course, at heavyweight.
Strawweight.
That's the bottom. I like how you frame that, though.
To know
as a little man myself, thank you. For
I need to know who Wen Yang will be fighting next. Minimum weight. What's he doing?
He's fighting tonight or tomorrow, isn't he?
Yeah, and then who's his Mando?
No, his Mando's tomorrow. But digressing, Rob, stop with the jokes. Let me get to it. Via Dan Rayfield, obviously via ESPN. Heavyweight Deontay Wilder will defend his title in an optional defense in a rematch with Luis King Kong Ortiz. Then he has the Tyson Fury fights. And the number one contender, Dylan White's situation is in limbo as he goes through the investigation process following a positive recent drug test. If the situation resolved itself without suspension, White will be the mandatory challenger for February 2021 because obviously they're allowing the Tyson Fury trilogy fights to go through. Cruiserweight.
Wait. Just to bring up on that.
Yes.
Eddie's got his lawyers looking into that because they did have the original resolution and kind of order when Dillian White reverse happened that they had a timeline and everything for the mandatory.
Yeah, but then the guy popped for, PEDs. So
I'm just saying. So they're looking into
shit kind of changes when you get popped for PEDs. Moving on, and then you don't notify the WBC. That's even, sorry. Cruiserweight champion.
It's clear to fight.
Alunga Makabu and former world titleist Krzysztof Glowacki have been ordered to fight for the vacant belt, obviously since Usyk has moved up. Light heavyweight, Beterbiev just knocked out Vazdik. Beterbiev will make his next IBF mandatory defense against Mang Fanlong, early 2020. And he doesn't have to fight the winner of John Pascal Badou Jack till later in the year, most likely. What else? David Benavidez, Avani Yildirim, that's happening. Jermall Charlo, Dennis Hogan is a optional defense, no mandatory yet. Tony Harrison obviously is fighting Jermall Charlo, or that's supposed to be happening. And then next up would be Lubin, the Gallimore winner, and then Sergio Garcia.
Well, did we do middleweight?
Yeah, Charlo.
Yeah,
there is no mandatory.
The bit that says about, and then they'll be discussing with Matchroom regarding his. That was actually from the WBC website that I saw that piece.
Okay, digressing.
That Daniel Jacobs would be the Matchroom fighter that is currently in the rankings behind Jermall Charlo, but
he's moved up, so I doubt that. I doubt he moves back down, to be honest. I think he tries to go after like a Billy Joe Saunders or someone. If I'm Daniel Jacobs, that's what I would do, to be honest. Or Cal Smith, someone of that nature that's at 168. Yeah. But digressing, because again, that's not mandatory yet, so it's not even been ordered. It's just what they're thinking. Mm-hmm. That's even worse. Earl Spence is supposed to fight Danny Garcia, who's his mandatory whenever that fight is supposed to happen. Ramirez is supposed to fight Victor Postal. And there was supposed to be a purse bid Wednesday, but that got pushed back because they're close to a deal. Ramirez is entitled to 70% of the winning bid, Postal 30%. Obviously, we have the whole franchise and Devin Haney bullshit, but it looks like where was it? Javier Fortuna and Jesus Cuellar are fighting, and they're going to be the final eliminator for Haney's mandatory challenger. Which, I mean, Fortuna, like, that's a decent fight, right? I mean, Cuellar is like, God, you're at 135 now. What the hell? You were at 126 last time I checked. Then you fought Gervonta Davis at 130, now 135. Oof. But Fortuna, he's been a guy that's been around forever. I'm okay with that matchup, to be honest. Even though it's not Loma Haney, which should be the fight after Haney beats the winner of Come, Tifamo Lopez. Miguel Bichette will be fighting the winner of Valdez Gutierrez. Yay, after his optional defense against Jason Sosa. Gary Russell Jr. has been ordered to fight King Tug. While I do love this matchup, it's not happening, right? Right?
Not this year. He's already fought.
Definitely not. Ray Vargas defeated Tomiki Kameda, and he can take voluntary defense. Nordino Bali just fought a voluntary defense, and now he'll be fighting the winner of Emmanuel Rodriguez and Luis Neri. Actually, he's scheduled to face Takuma Inoue in a optional defense first. Estrada was due to fight Yafei, and he has no mandatory fight at this point in time. It looks like maybe Rungsvi could also slip in there as a mandatory, but who knows? Charlie Edwards moved up from flyweight, so he's no longer the champion. Rosales Martinez are fighting for the vacant belt. A final eliminator has been ordered between Junto Nakatini versus McWilliams Arroyo. Ken Shiro is scheduled to face IBF counterpart Felix Alvarado, unification. And then last but not least, Wen Hang Menothin is scheduled to face his mandatory defense tomorrow, right? I think that's tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. Simpaway Konko.
Tough fight.
Not a bad fight, but digressing.
I have no idea.
I think maybe one or two of these things happen. And the divisions that no one cares, like cruiserweight, I think Lucky Makabu is probably going to happen.
Yeah. So
that's
that's for the vacant
belt? Yes.
So their WBC are not putting it in the final.
No.
With Dorticos and
nope.
Breedis.
After the whole dick measuring contest between them and was the WBA or WBO?
WBO, I think.
Whichever one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's all the mandates from the WBC convention. Here are my thoughts on it all. Yes. And actually, hold on. Usyk, what was that?
It's bullshit.
Thank you, Usyk. That's probably the best way to phrase it. Rob, any thoughts on any of the mandates from the WBC convention?
Yeah. I know also Benavidez is getting the Yildirim, and then he's allowed a voluntary.
Yes, because Yildirim is a mandatory.
And then Callum Smith will be the mandatory to if Benavidez is still there, Callum Smith will be. So what's that next year? Well, year after, 21.
Maybe late next year or early 2021, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. Will Callum Smith even be at super middleweight by then? I don't know. Possibly moved up, but...
or same with David Benavidez. I can see a bunch of those guys.
Well, true, yeah, but maybe a bit younger. I don't know. It's... Yeah.
It's bullshit. It's WBC, man.
But... let's fingers crossed we get the same strike rate as we did last year. But yeah, just interestingly on the middleweight one, it seemed weird that Charlo's fighting Hogan, and then they're going to have a couple of weeks, and then they're going to make a decision after consulting with Matchroom. So whether that's just is Jacobs sticking around, is he going to go back down, or does he want to be the mandatory to Charlo, or is he staying at the division above? So, yeah.
Speaking of Charlo, though, Lance Pugmire reporting and moving on. Eddie Reneso has told several guys are possible for May opponents for Canelo, and he included Triple G Box on the list. But he mentioned, and it's the first name, Jermall Charlo and Billy Joe Saunders most Also said he doesn't mind fighting Beterbiev in victory. Ooh. No, I don't think that happens.
Straight response. That's in straight response to everyone saying Canelo wouldn't fight Beterbiev.
And Canelo, as one of your biggest fans, nah, you don't need to, man. Beterbiev is the bridge too far, for sure. If Kovalev isn't, because he could be, Beterbiev 100% is.
If he completely ices Kovalev in 2 rounds, does he then change your opinion?
Maybe, but that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen, in my opinion. I'm still slightly leaning towards a Kovalev pick, to be honest, which I hate.
Ooh,
I know.
Shit, you better back that.
I'm leaning, and it's preliminary. We have like a week till the fight, guys. Relax, calm down.
Which, by the way, Sky Sports aren't picking up.
Wait, what?
I don't know who's showing Canelo Kovalev. It's all right though. Sky have got KSI Logan Paul, so don't worry.
Hold on. Watch if ITV picks it up.
ITV, nah, come on.
No, but wouldn't that be funny though if ITV drops all the PBC
I don't care
content?
where it is. I want to watch the fucking thing.
No, but
if it's on the
that'd be funny.
Cookery channel, I'll be watching it.
Channel Dave,
yeah, Channel 5, fucking anywhere.
But digressing, because that's just sad that the idea of Canelo Kovalev not being shown in the UK, that just sounds like it's a crime in 2019.
BT might come in for it. I don't know, but they'll probably make it a pay-per-view.
How does Canelo not get picked up? But digressing from that, obviously Charlo, Billy Joe Saunders are the guys that it seems like Eddie Reneso has mentioned the most for Canelo. Thoughts on those two guys and the possibility of those fights happening in May? Rob?
My feeling is that Canelo will decide to face Billy Joe Saunders in May, and we'll get the Triple G fight in September. That's my prediction.
Okay. Why do you predict that? Why?
Just from watching a bunch of stuff, Eddie seems very confident that Saunders is going to get the shot at Canelo. I've seen other little bits. I don't know, just dropped in elsewhere that's just given me the hunch that maybe there was something in it, and it wasn't just Eddie with Saunders at the time. He saying things that his fighter wanted to hear. There's just seen a few times Canelo sort of posts or whatever, or information regarding Canelo that Billy Joe Saunders has cropped up a couple of times. So maybe that's getting me leaning that way, but I think obviously at 168 it's nothing to do with the 160. No, Billy Joe's up there, and then Triple G, that would make sense if Canelo's 175 now, May 168, September 160, rather than...
I agree with the September Triple G matchup. I tend to, obviously we know Triple G is fighting is mandatory in like early January or February, so that kind of, the time doesn't really work for a May fight. You would assume that Triple G would try to have more of a longer layoff, or not longer layoff, I should say, but not have a rushed sort of in-between fight. Yeah, for a Canelo matchup. That would make sense. So since he's fighting Zamorata in, again, January, February, or no, it was February, there's a date too. It was like February
27th or 8th, something like that.
One of the late February. And
he's got hold on the Wintrust Arena
in Chicago. Whatever. So I doubt we get a May fight for Triple G. So I think he's off the table for May specifically. So who would be a fun matchup in Canelo's mind? Putting myself in Canelo's shoes, a guy that has just went and beat Triple G in a rematch, went up to 168 in kind of a tune-up on short notice and beat Rocky Fielding, and then came back down, unified against Daniel Jacobs, moved up 2 weight classes to fight Sergey Kovalev. He's a guy that's clearly headhunting, right? Like, it's a guy like almost like Predator right now. He's on the prowl looking for the biggest trophy. And
as you expect your franchise champion to do.
And why would you say that?
I didn't mean your specifically.
No, I know that, but I'm like, my blood pressure instantly like rose like at least 30 points right there. But digressing from that, if I'm, again, in Canelo's shoes, in his mind, I'm looking at the options here because Canelo, you can fight anyone. What's a bigger trophy in 2019 right now? It's probably Billy Joe, but it's arguable still. Like, that's the thing. Billy Joe Saunders has made it really difficult to be hyped on him because he's fought. Who was his last? Who did he get the vacant belt off of? Isufi, whatever. Now he's fighting Marcelo Corceras, or Michael Cera, as I will call him now on. Why, Billy Joe Saunders? However, you have a full legit belt at 168, something Rocky Fielding did not have. I think that's enticing for Canelo. And maybe Canelo's thinking that Charlo long-term, air quotes long-term, is a big fight. Because it is. If Charlo somehow can rebuild that momentum he had post-J-Rock, because he had momentum post-J-Rock, then a Texas stadium fight between Canelo and Charlo is massive. It just is.
Potentially, yeah.
I would say even if, like, let's say they fought right now in May, it would still do 50,000, 60,000 people in Dallas Stadium, easy. Canelo, Austin Trout did like 48,000 in the Alamo Dome, I want to say, in San Antonio. So Canelo's going to do massive numbers in Texas regardless. You had Charlo, who's from Texas, who I think, again, we talked about this before, is a natural B-side to Canelo, naturally going to egg him on in press conferences, naturally going to give you sound bites. That fight builds itself in a way. But Charlo does not have momentum right now, and that seems to be an issue. I think maybe if he beats up on Dennis Hogan, hopefully he does.
What you gonna do, brother?
Thank you, man. Oh, so sweet. You read my mind. And then, we're going to talk about it later on the show, but the Chris Eubank-Matt Korobov fight, the winner of that is obviously in line for a Charlo fight, and the hope, I would assume, from Al Heyman and PBC is that Chris Eubank wins that fight. And a Charlo-Eubank fight, if Charlo wins that in fun fashion, then momentum is back on, in my opinion. So I would not be surprised to see a Charlo fight early 2021, but May 2020 might be a little bit too soon in Canelo's mind when he can just go fight Billy Joe Saunders and collect a belt in a different division. That's an actual belt, unlike the WBA regular belt he picked up against Rocky Fielding at 168. And again, headhunter Canelo, in his shoes, that seems like what I would do. Just being honest.
Yeah, and obviously Beterbiev on the back burner in case he does look really good against Kovalev at 175. But
there's no way. But
that's not a big fight, even though there's a bit of hype around Beterbiev right now. But I think that will just simmer down because of Beterbiev is Beterbiev,
and it's just it's hardcore simmer too. It's hardcore hype.
Yeah. It's within the bubble, right? So.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I have serious doubts on how big Canelo Kovalev is going to be, even in respective to like Canelo Jacobs. Don't be surprised to not see a gigantic difference in numbers between the two. Because Kovalev, sort of speaking on momentum and hype and sort of brand around himself right now, isn't the same when he was fighting Andre Ward. So things change, momentum is huge when it comes to selling a product or an event. You have to have momentum, clearly. But I think Rob, we're pretty much in agreement here that Billy Joe Saunders would probably be the more likely option. But Jermall Charlo still represents money in the Texas market for Canelo. That will always be an option for Canelo Alvarez whenever he wants it, probably.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Canelo, Kovalev, I think things might have just got a little bit better for that promotion. If you check the one-on-one, you're going to be so sad. I'm going to play some music.
Hold on. Rob, can you just talk for a second, please, while I read this?
Yeah. If you want to smash the thumbs up, and I was just waiting for Matt's real reaction. Share the show, notifications bell, but I just sent Matt some very sad MMA news. And
okay, hold on. Let me just get this up because this is gonna be a clip, Rob.
Okay, we'll clip this.
Yeah.
Sorry, boxing fans, but it does affect the Canelo card a bit. It might draw some attention towards it.
Guys, you have no idea how upset I am right now.
Shout out to our unofficial associate producer for sending me that mid-show.
Robisky saying UK Rob, where is Gary? Well, I'm not Rob answering, but Gary's in. We don't know where exactly, but we believe he's at the. I don't know if it's Reno, but he's at the Elwin Soto.
Reno.
Hold on, he's at the Elwin Soto and Tito Acosta card. We believe.
Yeah,
he's at one of the boxing cards today.
He could have gone to stick around for Shakur Stevenson, but I think he's back Saturday, right?
Yeah, I think he's back Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Breaking news. It looks like that was loud. Looks like Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal might be canceled here, and then Nate Diaz potentially popped for something. And speaking of Canelo Kovalev, obviously if that happens and this fight doesn't go through, Canelo Kovalev are not going to be competing with much that day compared to what they were. But let's get to Nate Diaz's response. You're all on steroids, not me. And then he has a screenshot of like one of the long notes statement. I'm going to read it all. Sad music, Rob? Should I get sad music out? What should I do? Should I just read it with a sad voice because I am sad?
I've got one.
No.
My bad.
Don't you? Why? Why would you do that?
You piece of shit!
Don't stop. Okay.
Don't stop. Okay. Now carry on. You do your thing.
I'm not going to make it. This is Nate Diaz speaking. I'm not going to make it out to New York City for fight week next week because they say I tested for elevated levels that they say might be from some tainted supplements. I call false on that because I only take whole food and natural food supplements. I don't even eat meat. So until UFC, USADA, or whoever is fucking with me fixes it, I won't be competing. I'm not going to play their game and try and hide or keep quiet as they suggested. I'm not going to have my name tainted as a cheater like these other motherfuckers who keep quiet until after the fight just to say that they can get paid. Fucking cheaters. I don't give a fuck about some money over my dignity and my legacy. I'm not playing along with this bullshit. I'm not staying quiet and figuring it out after the fight. That's cheating. So fight game, I'll see you when I see you. Sincerely, the realest, baddest motherfucker in the game.
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
I'll put it this way. If this is all true, what Nate Diaz is saying, which is a huge if, guys, huge caveat there. If this is all 100% what happened and how everything went down behind the scenes, then credit for Nate Diaz for coming out when you saw it in UFC were like, hey, you don't need to talk about it. We're dealing with it behind the scenes, a la John Jones. Fight can go on. And if he was like, nah, fuck that. Like, I don't like this right now. I'm out. Then cool on Nate Diaz, right? Because I'm really curious as to what substance he popped for, to be honest. Just interesting what it could be. Because obviously, I mean, he hasn't ever tested positive for marijuana, but his brother has a lot. So if it's that, I don't know. But
his marijuana was tainted?
No. If he tested positive for marijuana, period.
Like he said, it was a tainted supplement.
Well, that's why. Like, I doubt it's that. That's what I'm saying. Like it.
Okay, yeah.
Like these brothers, is what I'm saying. Like they have a history of marijuana. Like I doubt it's that. His brother tested positive. It doesn't sound like it's marijuana, but
how can you say Nate didn't pop for marijuana when he literally smoked a joint on the stage?
Well, because literally speaking, he's never popped on a test for marijuana.
Yeah, but that's like saying that's like Big Baby Miller sticking a needle in his ass full of EPO and then saying, "Well, I didn't pop for it."
No. It's not. That's not true because he did pop. There was a test from a testing agency that had the substance in that from him. That's never happened with Nate Diaz. He's always cleaned out of his system in time.
Yeah, but if you witness someone, is that not?
Well, also like out of competition nowadays is different.
Oh, okay.
Like that's another thing.
Yeah.
Plus, like CBD, THC, like there's differences in terms of regulation.
For the UFC heads, by the way. I'm sorry.
Digressing. I don't know what to say about this. It sucks overall. Like bad. It's always bad when fights get ruined for this shit, and especially if it's maybe not legitimate, then it's even more upsetting. Which, I mean, we've had a long running case of instances of people getting popped for stuff that they should have been tested for, or isn't really a banned substance, or isn't really a PD, or shouldn't be. There's issues with the testing. Nick Diaz obviously bringing up his example when he got sentenced or suspended for 5 years from the Nevada State Athletic Commission. He then repealed that and went down to a year because they were doing things wrong in terms of how they judged it. Canelo's case, I think, is long documentation of how clenbuterol is a special case in specific regions of the world, a la China, a la Mexico.
It's a franchise PED, right? Franchise PED.
No, that's boxing, Rob. Stay on topic here. Bastard. But, it is what it is at this point. I would like to see more information.
Do you think it still goes ahead? Do you think it goes ahead?
No, if Nate's saying no, then I doubt it happens.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, if Nate's saying I'm out, he's out.
Okay. All right.
Because, I'm not going to say this exactly happened before, but him saying I'm out has happened before, and he's just been out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there who could possibly stand in for?
Well, let me look at the card right now because I don't have it off the top of my head. UFC 244. Look at you, Rob. Look at you helping me produce when you're not at.
Yeah, isn't the Liverpool guy on there?
Yeah, but this is a pay-per-view card.
Is it Gastelum against?
Yeah, Kelvin Gastelum versus Darren Till. You have Stephen Thompson versus Vicente Luque. Derek Lewis versus Blagoy Ivanov. Kevin Lee versus Gregor Gillespie. Good card, but let's be honest here. Like, Kelvin Gastelum, Darren Till is not going to headline a pay-per-view in 2019. Sorry. And with no title anywhere on this card, even harder to justify a $60 price tag. What was it, Rob?
No bad motherfucker belt or whatever it is. The BMF.
Well, it was a one-time thing for Masvidal and Nate Diaz. And it was kind of like what's the term? Like a
Mayan bout?
No.
Thing.
It was, it's not legitimate, Like, it's not like you can't put Masvidal versus Stephen Thompson in the main event and have that be for the bass motherfucker belt and that sell, in my opinion.
But wouldn't, if that guy beat Masvidal, be a bad motherfucker? Masvidal's the one that done the flying knee on that, like
yes. Ben Askren. Yes,
the mop-headed one.
Yes, Ben Askren.
Yeah. So if you beat him, pretty bad motherfucker-ish sort of behavior, isn't it?
Yeah, but I doubt Stephen Thompson beats Jorge Masvidal. And Jorge Masvidal knocked out Darren Till. It's like, even if you put like Masvidal going up to middleweight and fighting Darren Till in a rematch, or Kelvin Gastelum, like, that's not sellable, and that's where you have an issue here from a pay-per-view perspective.
Stephen Thompson sounds like a geography teacher or something. It doesn't even sound.
Kind of looks like a geography teacher. So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, maybe he is.
Oh, if you saw him, yeah, you would be like, "Oh, this motherfucker! How does he knock out people?" But he does. But stitching back to Jermall Charlo and back to boxing, Eddie Hearn has declared that he will make an offer to Jermall Charlo for the Demetrius Andrade fight on DAZN, and explain that he'd be happy for this to be just a one-fight deal that doesn't tie Charlo to the network, which I gotta say is probably a very key clause in contracts moving forward for big fights to be made, is that these guys do not like being tied down, it seems. Even when they get tied down in big contracts, they don't like it, a la Canelo. So I think a lot of these top guys value autonomy and some level of freedom, and I'm not surprised that Charlo hasn't been out there demanding that I'm not going to sign a deal with DAZN. If you want one off, I'll take that. And Eddie Hearn out there, hopefully he's, comes through on this and actually sends an offer to Jermall Charlo that doesn't have any sort of option or deals with it to DAZN. And Rob's shaking his head like that's not going to happen. But I mean, in a best case scenario, if that were to happen, I think the fight would get made, and I think the fight would be great to watch, and it would have some meaning to it, even though Jermall Charlo, kind of is a fake champion in a way, just to put it bluntly, like that's just a reality to it. But if you beat and same with Andrade. Like, Andrade defeated Walter Katendokwa for a vacant belt, for God's sake. Neither of these guys have a real legitimate claim to being the number one guy in the division. It's not even like an arguable case. They just don't have that case. But if they were to fight each other and, beat one another, then yeah, it would signify that one of them is truly elite. So I'm all in favor of this matchup if it's after Dennis Hogan. If you get a Jermall Charlo, Demetrius Andrade fight on DAZN, or vice versa. Hey, Al Heyman, PBC, send a counter offer. Andrade, come over here to Fox on a one-off deal.
Yeah, be the A side. Send an offer.
And honestly, Charlo is the A side, for God's sake. Like, send an offer. Like if and I know Charlo's been out there and said like, oh, who's Demetrius Andrade, but motherfucker, like, who are you in this division? Like, you did great things at 154 that we were all really hyped on. And then you came to 160, fought Sebastian Hyland, who had his knees missing, it looked like. Who else did he fight? He fought, what's the Mexican fighter that he fought? That knocked out Emmanuel Alim. Centeno, Hugo Centeno Jr., which was a decent matchup. I'll give him that. But, like, it's not top 10 or top 15. And then you fought Brandon Adams, who came off the Contender Series. Like,
I think I deleted that one.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, you've done very little in this division at this point in time. And same with Demetrius Andrade. You've done very little in this division. Like, what have you done? Go do something. And this is one of those fights that does something, in my opinion. Does it happen, Rob? You were shaking your head, so you don't seem like you're inclined to think that, A, these type of offers are being sent, or B, that it even happens?
Well, look, it was at the press conference that Charlo basically said, Eddie Hearn, talk to me, send me an offer.
Yep.
Or, get in touch. I'm open to it. Then I think Eddie Hearn was interviewed, asked about that very sort of interview from Charlo, and he was like, "Yeah, that's no problem. We'll send an offer. We can get an offer sent, no problem at all." Then at the WBC convention, Charlo was like, "Yeah, who is Andrade? Who cares? Like, I don't need him." And then today, it's as if Eddie's heard that, and he went, yeah, I haven't, they said any further on the offer to Charlo. And it's like, fucking hell, you asked me this because it's a fight week. He gets a camera every day. And it was IFO, like, people say, how's it going, Eddie? He goes, well, not much has changed since, we spoke to each other 12 hours ago. He's sort of sometimes a little sarcastic with it. Like, what do you want from me? We sort of spoke yesterday. Nothing new. But he seemed to sort of go, no, nothing yet. Like, no offer's been sent yet. But I just don't see it. And I see the whole Korobov Eubank thing being the route that they seem to be aligning for Charlo. So I can't see that getting made. And, Eddie's got lots of fighters over on his side anyway. They I don't know, try and get Andrade, and there's Andrade Billy Joe, there's Andrade Triple G, Andrade Jacobs. There's plenty that side anyway, I think. But this has all come off of the back of Charlo on a Fight Hype video saying, "Send me an Eddie, get in touch, make me an offer." So
I'll say this. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. This is when I called like a PBC fan, right? Is when I'm going to say this. I really hope all the people that kept that energy about PBC fighters not fighting each other keep the same energy about DAZN fighters and like matchroom fighters not fighting each other right now, because it's a big issue, especially in the middleweight division, or like 160 to 168. The amount of guys that are in that DAZN umbrella that could fight each other and just simply aren't is really shocking. And you could probably make a case, Rob, that like PBC holding off on like a bunch of their welterweight fighters fighting till like the last year or so, right? When they had them all like 2016, let's say, right? 2015 is not as bad as what's happening in the middleweight division right now with Canelo not fighting any other middleweight right now at this point in time. He fought Daniel Jacobs and he was like, I'm good. I like solidify my stance as the middleweight king. I don't need to fight any of you guys anymore. And then all these big fights, all these great matchups we were all thinking about just aren't happening. And there seems to be no way that DAZN or Eddie or even Oscar can push for these fights to happen. And it's just...
That's the thing. Eddie,
crazy.
like I say, has got Jacobs, has got Triple G, has got Andrade, got Billy Joe. And I think he's under orders to get me the Canelo fight from all of those.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of fighting each other...
just add to that. Sorry, just add to that. On orders from his fighters and DAZN, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Canelo needs big opponents, and all of Eddie's fighters are maybe those big opponents or potentially decent enough matchups. And they all want that Canelo fight. And it's just all sitting around waiting for the Mr. Franchise to pick his next victim. But I don't know. They need to just kind of... I mean, Eddie kind of said it about Triple G. Let's make our own path then. Forget Canelo. Let's go our own direction. But it's still... But if we hang a left, we can maybe fight Canelo. Let's not make our new lane too far away. It's all still in mind of it. And the press are obviously all over it. Canelo had like a workout yesterday, sat down with the media 5 minutes in. Well, not even 5 minutes, 5 seconds in. Triple G question, and Canelo kind of rolled his eyes and laughed and was like, oh, here we fucking go. This is just going to be Triple G questions. So
I mean, he must know like that's going to be the name that he will be asked about for the rest of his career. Like when he's like retired and everything, and he gets asked by reporters when he's at events, it's going to be about Triple G fights.
Yeah, so about those Triple G fights.
That's just how it is. Like I assume like Pernell Whitaker got asked about Chavez every day of his life after he fought him, or close to every day, right?
Yeah.
Like some of these fighters are so intrinsically tied to one fighter in a way that how can you not like mention that other fighter when you're asking that fighter questions about their career or just boxing overall? It's how it's going to be in a way. But digressing, since we've mentioned it, let's talk about it. Chris Eubank versus Matt Korobov finalized for the not co-main event, right? No, it is the co-main event.
I mean,
yeah, co-main event for Charlo Hogan, and I know, Rob, I even gave you like a little pause there to like play it, and you just messed up, man. God.
What you gonna do, brother?
Sorry, Hulk. I like this matchup. Like,
do you like it for the WBA interim title?
I'm not even going to talk about that right now. I'm not going to give that any credence in time. But in terms of just like pure matchup, stylistic matchup, technical matchup, Eubank Korobov's a fun match. Like, Korobov is a technical boxer. I think he's a southpaw too, right? From what I remember off the top of my head. I think Eubank has always struggled with boxers, and he's a guy that we've talked about is like, why can you not progress past this certain threshold of your ability, of your ceiling? And we haven't seen him in a while. So maybe he's worked on some things. This is the sort of the fight where we can tell if Eubank has worked on things. But I'll be honest, Eubank is probably going to struggle and lose this fight. And we might see a Jermall Charlo Matt Korobov rematch on Fox, which I know it won't be a sellable or as sellable as a Chris Eubank Jermall Charlo fight, but like that's a much better matchup probably in terms of competitiveness. Because I think Eubank Charlo, if we were to get that somehow, if Eubank were to beat Korobov and Charlo were to beat Hogan,
it would be epic. I want to see Chris Eubank Sr. clashing with the Charlo brothers.
Again, it would sell it would, but I think it would be one-way traffic for Charlo, to be honest, because Eubank does everything that Charlo does, but he does it not as well, with less athleticism, less power. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is interesting matchup because again, I like it. It's a stylistic parody or between a technical boxer that really likes to negate fighters' aggression and power, and a guy that is purely aggression and power. Like that's all he has. Like Eubank is not a boxer. He's not going to throw a jab and work behind it. He's not going to work behind body shots. He's going to just throw massive hooks and really wide combinations and hope that he's going to land and be ultra aggressive. That'd be fun. So I'm down for that. Rob, thoughts on Eubank Korobov, and then obviously the possibility of the winner of this fighting Charlo Hogan winner.
Yeah, no, I was surprised by it. I didn't think, Chris has been out since, when was his fight with De Gale? Like February, end of January, February, early February, I think. So I thought he might have come back with a slightly softer touch, but no, fair play. I like, real good fight.
Tough fight for Eubank.
I think so. I think it is a tricky one. But if he can shine and come through Korobov, make people sort of take a bit of notice, right? And his fight will be done, and they'll be ringside watching Charlo, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of promo get set up right there and then in the ring. So I like it. Some people say, "Whoa, he's matched him up tough. This is the wrong move for." So give credit. He's taken a tough fight. I think
one thing I will give Eubank credit for is that he's always been matched up pretty well, and like he's fought some good opponents. He's just kind of lost to some of the better ones. Like that's just the God honest truth, But if he beats Korobov, like that's honestly his best win to date, probably. You could probably make that argument, and
possibly, yeah.
It would be a reputation-changing fight if he were to win it. To be honest. We would think about Eubank different if he were to win this fight.
Just spoon feed me Chris Eubank Sr. in the Charlos at a press conference.
Really? Is there no context Eubank Sr.?
Yes.
Is there?
Yeah.
Send me
it's either no context or out of context.
I think it's out of context.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started the trend probably.
Fu definitely follows it.
Oh my God, he's obsessed
with dancing and shit like
obsessed with the man. Moving on. Eddie
Can you
Hearns.
imagine Chris Eubank saying stuff and the Charlo like taking it the wrong way? Like, is he being?
Oh, it'd be great. No, it just trust me, it'd be amazing.
Car crash quality in the making.
It's either gonna be the cringiest press conferences we ever see, or the best.
I'm going with the best.
Or it could be the cringiest and the best. I don't know. It could be all of the above.
Yeah, because I could just see the bipolar twins just going fucking crazy. Just I don't know. It could just be triggered by Chris Eubank speaking just like one line.
You know what's funny? I forget who I was talking to. It was a media friend. It was an MMA media friend, and we were talking about like athletes that we've interviewed that have been really nice. Right? It was one of those like somebody asked us a question, and they brought up the Charlos, right? And I like had to like hold it in. I'm like, man, how many times have you interviewed them? Like one time. I'm like, oh, okay, that explains it. You guys caught them on a really good day, it seems.
You might have caught them good.
Try a few more times. It's an interesting experience dealing with the Charlos.
Ratio changes.
Digressing though. Eddie Hearn coming out and saying Usyk versus Chisora Price winner would be huge in the UK. Rob, is this the fight we're getting next for Alexander Usyk? Is the Chisora Price winner?
I don't know. Apparently, he's been told by them that they want to fight for the WBO title next. So, as the mandatory. So I don't know. I really don't know, but it makes sense in my opinion
to fight Chisora Price winner.
Yeah, but
probably does. I think he needs to step up before he fights like Andy Ruiz or AJ. or Deontay Wilder. Like, I'll be honest, like, my thoughts about the Chaz Witherspoon fight. And I think he looked that great in it. If you wanted to see me and Rob debate that, I even clipped it out. There's a little, go down to the featured video section on our YouTube page and check out the debate of did Usyk struggle with Chaz Witherspoon. But digressing, he did struggle. He did struggle.
Stats in the link in the description box.
No, but you definitely said them. So I mean, people have them. They're just bullshit because CompuBox is bullshit. Digressing, I think he did struggle in some ways against Witherspoon. The takeover, to sort of appropriate Teofimo Lopez's term, for Alexander Usyk at the heavyweight division, I don't think it's going to happen as immediate as some people thought. Like, Rob, you have to admit, there are people that came on, and even like us, like even we thought this to an extent that, Usyk can come in and like beat Tyson Fury, Wilder, AJ, Andrew Ruiz off rip. Like, he could do that. I don't know if that's the case. I think a few more in between fights in the heavyweight division is the smart route. Usyk is young enough. He's like 32. Like he's in his early 30s, I want to say. So it's not like he's mid 30s, late 30s. He has some time. Fight the Chisora Price. Fight the Joseph Parkers of the world, and then fight a Dylan White, and then fight AJ, Ruiz, Wilder, Tyson Fury. That's what I would do if I'm in his camp, if I'm in his corner, if I have any sort of opinion that he cares about. That's what I would tell him, is that, no, take these in between fights, because guess what, Usyk? You're going to make millions in all these matchups, and you're going to win all these fights, and you're going to be better acclimated to the division once you fight Tyson Fury or Wilder or AJ or Andy Ruiz, and you're going to be more of a multimillionaire and have a better legacy at heavyweight if you do that. Because now legacy is not just maybe a one fight and a loss here and there against the very, very top guys. It has a bunch of wins against the top 10, top 15 that solidify your standing at the top. And then you go and fight the guys at the top and show where you really rank amongst the top 5. That's what he should do, in a way, in my opinion. Rob?
Yeah, sorry, no, he'll be 33 in January.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was just looking, and apparently he's in a movie, The Stolen Princess.
So now we have to find this movie, right?
Hang on, wait.
He's in a movie? Like, does he have an IMDb?
I don't know. Hang on, I'm trying to find it.
If Usyk is all of a sudden like in a bunch, I know he's in a bunch of commercials in like Ukraine and stuff, right? But if he's all of a sudden like in a bunch of like Eastern European movies, like low budget movies, guys, we have to find the links to that, right? Like everyone in the chat right now, like that must be mandatory, like watching for everyone, because it's going to be so bad, it's going to be great. Let's be honest. But anyways, Rob, thoughts? Usyk, Chisora Price, should he take a more fast track to the top? Should he take a longer path? Thoughts on that specifically?
No, I'd like to see him get another one before going for the title, but this is what these guys do, right? The Lomachenkos, the Usyks, and whatever. They seem to want to go fast. So, but yeah, very quick. Stolen Princess is a 2018 Ukrainian 3D animated fantasy film directed by blah 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 blah.
It's animated.
Yeah, and Alexander Usyk plays the part of a Troyeshnya gangster alongside Vasil.
Is Lomachenko in it?
No.
Oh,
Vasil Virastyuk, and he is a Ukrainian former strongman competitor. He's the brother of Roman Virastyuk, the winner of the World's Strongest Man 2004. Usyk out here making what is the Ukrainian version of Pixar? Because that's what the picture looks like. It looks very
I don't know what the Ukrainian version of Pixar would be, but now I am insanely curious now, guys.
I'm gonna send it you.
Thank you. Moving on though, because other topics to get to. We have callers.
We went really left field there.
Call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers calling on Skype Mix Combat Radio. Quick shout out to everyone in the chat. Ricky Ellis, Hassan, Ohio runs boxing. Boom, PSK.
Shout out to Ricky Ellis. He gave us a big shout out and got everybody to follow. And
yeah, shout out to Ricky, man. Ricky's always been a long time supporter and listener, man. Always shout out to him. Nizzy Kid, Freddie, Calvin. Who else is here? Raphael Schaefer. I like that one. That's good. Who else? Dwayne's a long-time listener, supporter. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Rubisky. Hope everyone's having a great day, great night, great evening, wherever you are. But moving on, Katie Taylor and Christina Lenardois. How do you pronounce that name, Rob? It's French, and I should know this.
Leonardo too.
Or looks French, I should say. Is technically speaking the first women's boxing fight to have third-party drug testing outside of commission testing. Props to them. Now, the news is coming out today, but it says this was agreed. They signed up when they signed the contracts for the fight. So, Rob, if you can't, I didn't look this up. Can you quickly find out when this fight was made? I want to find out how long of a timetable they've been under VADA random drug testing. Just curious about that. And quickly, because I saw like a bunch of people having this issue, and it's a real simple thing to misunderstand. Because when we hear like things like in competition and out of competition and like random out of competition testing, people assume random out of competition testing means when you don't have fights scheduled, you are getting tested. That's not what it means. Random out of competition testing means that you can be randomly tested outside the competition window. I'm using that term specifically, guys. The competition window is a 12-hour window before and after an athletic event, and that's all athletic events. So when it's WADA and the IOC we're talking about, when it's USADA, when it's VADA, when it's UCAD, when it's any sort of testing or collection agency, a la VADA, USADA, UCAD, then that is what we're talking about. Is in competition, out of competition is that 12-hour window before and after a athletic event, competition, whatever it may be. So, for example, a fight, it's the Saturday. It's the 12 hours before you fight and the 12 hours after you fight. That's the in competition window. Any testing outside of that window is out of competition testing. And if it's random, well, then it's clearly just random out of competition testing. That's what that means. Okay, if you want to find that, like WADA.com, like just simple, easy Google searches, guys, you can find the WADA code and what this all means in certain terms. But Rob, did you find when this fight was announced, I should say?
Carlos Toro said it on the 16th of September.
16th of September.
What, like 5 weeks?
Yeah, about 5 weeks. And when's the fight? So November 2nd. So it's in like a week or so, right? Is when the fight is. So it's around what, like a 6 week or 7 week?
7, 8-ish.
It's around the training camp, I should say.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's definitely a really good start.
It's better. So.
PSK, no, you're wrong about that. VADA does follow in competition, out of competition rules. Yes. VADA is not a WADA accredited agency. Maybe that's what you would mean, PSK. Like USADA and UCAD are WADA accredited collection agencies, meaning if it's the same funding, they have the same exact testing methods, same exact testing protocols. Okay? They follow the same exact rules of what is banned, what isn't. That's what that means. VADA has, in terms of rules and certain banned substances that aren't banned, vice versa with WADA. That's where you get some issues. A la the Billy Joe Saunders case is a prime example of what specifically maybe VADA and WADA differ on. It would be individual classifications of specific substances. It's not out and out, we don't see or we don't adhere to the competition window. No, they adhere to that. Just certain substances, they don't adhere to it. Like WADA does, for example. A la the Billy Joe Saunders case, right? Where In WADA example, it was allowed out of competition. And in VADA's case, it was banned out of competition. That's the difference. But again, they both adhere to out of competition definition, if that makes sense. But digressing, good start for Kay Taylor and Christina Lenartois.
Leonard too. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, who cares? Sorry, I don't care right now. That's not the story. The story is not her name. The story is that it's the first women's boxing fight with having VADA testing or out of competition random testing from a third-party collection agency. That is good. That's a good start because it shows, A, there is proper funding for this fight to allow for third-party out of competition testing, right? And on top of it, it shows that promoters are willing to spend that money on women's fights to give it the legitimacy that they probably deserve. Digressing though, Rob, any thoughts on this at all?
No, it's just like you say, a step in the right direction for everything. So yeah, long may it continue.
Yeah, agreed. We have a couple more topics to go, then we're going to go to callers, by the way, guys. If you want to call in, 323-870-4051. Skype Mixed Combat Radio. Golden Boys Thursday night fights, a la tonight's fight card, will be carried on DAZN, and that is a sort of confirmation that the Facebook deal is done for Golden Boy, which, thank God. Thank God, because as someone that did not have Facebook anymore, I could not watch any of those cards. So it's really nice to have them on DAZN when DAZN invested an unknown amount of money into Golden Boy specifically. So it would make sense for the Golden Boy to put their events exclusively on DAZN, since DAZN is now an investor of Golden Boy. But again, I think this is going to be probably, it'll make it easier for us hardcore fans, plus just the overall sort of like server strength of DAZN versus the Facebook streaming is better, surprisingly. So I'm all in favor of this news, and plus it just keeps it all more in one house in terms of content, which I prefer. Rob, any thoughts on Golden Boy moving officially all of their Thursday night cards to DAZN and not on Facebook?
Well, wasn't it called like Golden Boy Thursday nights on DAZN or something like that? And now it's actually on DAZN. So thumbs up to making it less confusing. But yeah, no, I guess so. Yeah, I don't know quite what the crack was, but yeah, I guess it's where it should be, seeing as DAZN are paying the bills around a Golden Boy. So yeah, makes sense.
And remember, guys, tonight's card on DAZN now, on Golden Boy card, is Elwin Soto, who just knocked out Tito Costa, and Tito Costa is on the card as well, moving up to flyweight. So that'll be interesting to see his sort of transition to that weight class. Moving on, DAZN and Sylvester Stallone's Balboa Productions join forces on a documentary miniseries, so to speak, called One Night, which would be sort of an anthology documentary series. So each individual episode will cover one night, a la the title. The first one would be Joshua Ruiz. Not surprised, because that's probably going to be a watershed moment for DAZN's early venture into the U.S. market, is that fight. Let's just be honest about it. That fight went viral in more ways than any other fight on their platform. But good to see them joining forces with a massive production company.
Does it say when that airs, that first episode? I think it did.
No, sorry. That's when the fight was.
I saw somewhere where it said when it airs. Let me check DAZN.
No, I do not see it at this point in time.
Must be on DAZN.
Whoa.
Sorry about that.
Whoa. The film will debut a star-studded premiere in Los Angeles on Tuesday, November 19th. Wider release will take place on Wednesday, November 20th, fewer than 3 weeks before the highly anticipated rematch. There you go.
Okay, there we go.
So mid-November.
I didn't know if there was any more reporting on it, whether, because do you remember the 40 Days episode was, they got a slot on NBC and things like that, didn't they, before the first fight?
They should look to get that too, I would assume.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know.
But that'd be a time buy, obviously, so whenever that is, there'd be more of a short-term notice, so to speak, of when, hey, this, shoulder programming is going to be on NBC or ABC or whatever it's going to be. Probably NBC. Moving on, sort of wrapping up the show and DAZN topics, sort of to keep it all singular. Billionaire Len Blavatnik, the owner and founder of DAZN and Warner Brothers Music and all that fun stuff, is trying to raise $500 million in investment for DAZN from Goldman Sachs. And I have really no big take on this other than obviously that's what companies do when they're trying to expand is they look for investment from investment firms a la Goldman Sachs. So none of this is shocking. But just want to remind people, and again, check out this article on Mother Jones. Blavatnik is not really the greatest person in the world, and if you want to understand how he has spread kleptocracy around the world, this article is a fantastic piece, even though I think the headline is a rather really piss-poor attempt at framing, and it's, Russian scare. But digressing from that, the points it brings up from real activist groups is valid in terms of Blavatnik and his spreading of corruption and, again, kleptocracy around the world. But regardless, those possible ramifications and economic sanctions that the U.S. could put on him, again, whether they have an effect on DAZN is something that's not going to happen in any sort of short term right now. So it's not a major topic. But Rob, DAZN seeking $500 million in investment. Thought on that, and I know you really don't care about the whole Blavatnik and kleptocracy and that shit, but any thoughts?
I got Brexit to worry about.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm only messing. Really don't care. No, yeah, like you say, it's expanded, but yeah, the article alludes to maybe him a little bit of reluctance to, completely bankroll the whole thing at the moment or something like that. But I mean, it's kind of guesswork. But yeah, I suppose looking to expand, looking for more rights, looking for, breaking into other markets, then yeah, he's hoping someone else will pay for it.
That's
always easier to spend someone else's money, right?
That is a God honest truth. Let's go to callers, and he's on the show. He's not hosting. Does he know where he's at, guys? He called in all the way from Reno. Are we assuming it's still in Reno? Is that where you're going with? I don't think it's in Reno.
I do.
I think it's in Indio. That's just my guess. Indio, California, by the way. That's where I'm saying.
I'm sure he said Reno, but you're probably right.
Reno was the Shakur fight, right?
But I thought he said this was Reno. But if he said in Idaho or fucking Indio or fucking...
Not Idaho, Indio, California, which is where the Golden Boy puts on a lot of their events.
So he's in California. Can you go with me?
What was that?
Is that far from you?
Yes, it is. I'm not driving to Indio, California.
Anyways. What if Gary went halfway?
I'm not driving 2.5 hours.
So it's 5 hours to...
Give or take, yeah.
To see your buddy from Texas?
Nah, man, I'm good. I see him all the time. Gary in Dallas, or not in Dallas right now, but lives in Dallas technically. Gary, what's up?
Where are you?
Where the fuck are you?
I don't technically live in Dallas now. I live on the Fort Worth side. When I used to call in the Name Redacted show, I still lived in Dallas. But I've since moved to the Fort Worth side.
Same shit.
But we can still go Gary with
whole
Dallas.
New slate.
It's one and the same.
Okay. Where are you?
Rob was right. I am in Reno. Both fights, the Canelo Canelo fight and the Shakur Stevenson fight, are both in Reno.
See, Gary, I listened to you.
Oh, so you're not at the Elwin Soto fight, huh?
No.
Okay, we got the card wrong. That's why. Okay.
And I did learn that India is actually nowhere near L.A. So when they used to do the Golden Boy fight nights in L.A., it's actually nowhere near L.A. And that's like 3 hours away.
Unless they're at the Belasco Theater, and that's in L.A. That's in L.A.
That's in L.A. Yeah. But they used to do it both places. It was just like Golden Boy fight night live in L.A. And then so a lot of times it was in India.
Yep.
Which is
Not in LA County.
Nowhere near.
Nope.
Yeah. What the hell was I going to say? Oh, couple of things. Jermall Charlo. I didn't get. Did you guys think he's going to take this offer to fight one of Hearns' fighters, or do you think he's going to not take that?
Gary, can you repeat the question? Sorry, Rob sent me something in the one-on-one chat, so I was making sure.
He said, "Do we think Charlo's going to take the? We'll take a one-off."
I'm with Rob. I don't even know if the offer is ever been sent.
I know it's not sent yet. I don't think,
but I don't think an offer ever gets sent. Or at least not right now. I should say. If it were, like, say hypothetically, if an offer does get sent, do I think Charlo takes it? Possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I'm not leaning that way, but like 40% chance. Yeah, I can see that.
20%.
I don't know what other options he has. Like, everyone says, well, why didn't Crawford sign with PBC? Why didn't Charlo sign with Eddie?
Well, because Charlo's making just as much money on Fox and with a way larger audience.
Okay, fine, for now.
Way worse competition.
True, but now that's not comparative to Andrade. Come on, Andrade's fighting relatively the same competition as Charlo.
Yeah, I'm saying they're going to fight each other, but they won't. So
yeah, but like going to the zone doesn't mean you're going to fight great competition. Look at Andrade's case.
All the belts are there.
Yeah, but the fights aren't happening. You can say all the belts are there, Rob, but the fights aren't happening. Canelo Triple G not happening. Canelo Andrade's not happening. Triple G Andrade's not happening. Literally name any big fight at that weight class or at 168, and it's not happening.
Canelo Jacobs happened.
That's right.
Okay, Canelo Jacobs happened. You have one. Okay, you have one.
It's only been going a year, yeah?
Yeah, but they have all the belts.
Yeah, give it a chance. But anyway, I'm just saying, if Charlo went there, there's more opportunity for a combination of those two.
Yeah, there's definitely more opportunity, but it's no guarantee that those guys would still take the fights. A la Canelo not taking any of these fights.
Once you beat Sulecki, then you might get your shot.
Get out of here.
Right, Matt, here was my point. Can I get back to Charlo? My point about Charlo?
Sure.
Sorry. Kind of asked.
So if Charlo stayed on the PBC side, and you're saying he's making roughly the same amount of money as he would have went to Eddie, okay, fine. But that's just the short term here and now. So my point is, if he went over to Eddie and beat Andrade, beat Canelo, and beat Triple G, he's the biggest star in boxing, at least American boxing.
Cool.
He is.
But again, going to the zone is no guarantee of making those fights. Andrade went to the zone. Billy Joe Saunders went to the zone. Hold on. Gary, let me talk, please. Billy Joe Saunders went to the zone. Andrade went to the zone. They went to Eddie. None of them have fought good competition at all.
You're right. You're absolutely right about that point. But it's the only chance you have to get those fights. He's not going to get those fights on the PBC side. It's not a guarantee he gets it on the Eddie side. I agree. But it's the only chance you got.
But see, that's why I brought up the point earlier. That's why he would counter offer, because he's probably the A side against Andrade, and make the fight on Fox. Why is that not part of the equation? Why is it only one way?
That's a fair point. No, that's a good point too.
Now for like the really big ones like Canelo, obviously, he's not the A side. It's like that's not part of the equation, right? Or even like Triple G, right? But a guy like Andrade, no, like I'm sorry, I think we all are fully aware of who the A side is, and it's not Andrade.
Right. I don't see the upside for him staying on PBC, right? And you're right, he's not guaranteed to fight the best guys on the zone side. I agree. But at least he's got a fighting chance to get those fights. It's easier for him to get those fights. But
in theory.
Those may not. Yeah.
Because think about, like, it's like, look, guys, like, we have this issue with every fucking promoter and network within their umbrella. Look at Top Rank. We wanted Valdez, Warrington to fight or Warrington to fight Shakur Stevenson. None of those fights are happening. Valdez went to 130 to escape those guys. You know, like
the fight I've wanted for years now, Loma versus Miguel Berchelt, we're not getting either. And there's no reason for that fight not to be made.
That's a total top-ranked matchup. That would make sense too, but that never happens.
Yeah.
So like, there's tons of fights that like are in-house that would make sense, that are technically easy to make in theory, that just don't get made for whatever reason. I'm not here to point the finger and blame anyone, but they just don't get made. So I'm of the mindset of how to solve this issue, because right now I think we can all agree that maybe a huge factor of why these fights don't get made is because a lot of these contracts have options in them. Right? You come and fight this guy on ESPN. Well, your next fight, we have an option on you if you win or lose. I think that needs to go. That predatory style of contracts needs to go for these fights to get made, if I'm being honest. Like, rematch clauses can stay in because there's a value to that, and I think it's fighter-friendly. But, again, they need to be two-way rematch clauses at times. You need to negotiate that aspect. The splits, are they pre-negotiated before we enact the rematch clause, a la AJ Ruiz? And even then, you still have issues there. So fights are extremely hard to make, even if they are in-house, unfortunately. And I think just moving to that network isn't the end-all, be-all of fixing the issue of Jermall Charlo.
It's certainly not the end-all, be-all. I just think it gives him a better chance to land the fights fights possible.
I understand you, Gary, and maybe I'm not talking directly at you and more to like the audience. But like the idea that like X fighter goes to this platform and it's all of a sudden going to fix everything, may not be the case, guys. Like a la even Crawford going to PBC, and we had that conversation the other day about, you know, could Heyman help Terence Crawford buy out his contract, right? Even if Crawford went over there to PBC, there's no guarantee that he gets those fights. It's extremely hard to make fights.
We still haven't gotten Spence versus Thurman. We haven't gotten Spence versus Pacquiao. So, you know, this is it. These fights are automatically going to get made because they're on the same side of the street, so to speak. It's not accurate.
You are absolutely right, though, that it is, in theory, far easier to make. 100%. There's no disputing that. However, that's not, like I said, the end-all, be-all. So for the conversation we have, and not just me and you, Gary, but as the community, as listeners right now of the show, when you had that conversation, don't end the conversation there. Extend it to, okay, then how do we go around that? How do we solve this issue? You know, let's be creative here, you know? And I know that goes into like us being like fanagers, you know, fan managers and stuff, but like, I'll be honest, I think a lot of managers and agents listen to content like this and get ideas from it. I'll be completely honest. I think it's a very normal thing. So if the benefit of us giving free ideas to these managers and promoters on how to make better fights is the byproduct is we get better fights, then yeah, I'll give them free advice. But I think the conversation needs to be extended just to, oh, Charlo needs to go to DAZN. Charlo needs to go with Eddie. It's not just that.
The next thing I wanted to get to was the WBC and this Devin Haney scenario.
Fun one.
This is awful. This is just terrible, right? Like, we were online to get an undisputed lightweight champion. We were in line to get, at some point, Haney versus Lomachenko. And now we're going to get none of that. Like, the sanctioning bodies are supposed to make the big fights happen. And they're actually stopping them. Not you know, being lukewarm and not. They're actually stopping them from happening now. And I get it. Haney's not ready for Loma. And it could have been like and I'm not comparing these fighters, but like when Floyd beat Canelo and he schooled him, that was a good lesson for Canelo, right? If Loma beat Haney like that, okay, you got beat by the best. Now you see what you have to do. Now you see what's expected of you, right? So that was just a great fight. That if Haney wins, that's amazing. And if he loses, okay, it's a great learning experience. You fought the best in a mega fight. And now we're not going to get that, right? And we're also not going to get an undisputed lightweight champion. So, I don't know. Everyone rips on the WBA and the IBF. And the WBC, I don't know why this is like the one that people hold up from high and see like, oh, you got to get the green belt. This is ridiculous. They're ruining the best fights at the lightweight division. They're destroying them.
I agree.
And Tanahara's got to be kicking himself in the ass right now because that fight with Haney would be for the world championship that he turned out, right? If he would have took the fight, he would have been fighting for a world title.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But he wishes he could have that back. What do you think would now? Do you think if they offered it to him now, he would take it now that it's for a world title?
Sure. I don't know, man. He ducked one way or another. No, I'm only joking. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Maybe that would make his decision easier. I don't know. Do you think he would have?
I think you have to. You get a world title shot this early in your career, you got to take it, right? If you lose it, so what? You lost a world title shot at 22, you'll be back.
Or
if you win,
should
you're
he work
a world champion.
should he work his way up through the rankings, make it to number 1, and hope Devin Haney gets made a franchise champion?
That seems to be the way to become a world champion now. Making Lomachenko the franchise champion is the most ridiculous thing in the world. How long has he had the WBC belt? 2 months?
He's had one WBC sanctioned fight.
In August
31st, that fight was.
Against Blue Campbell. Yeah.
Yep.
2 months ago. Less than 2 months ago, actually.
Like a month and a half.
So he is
Just silly.
steeped in the history of the green and gold and thoroughly deserves it.
Again, guys, this is just their very slow rollout of what the WBA did some time ago.
Yeah. Wilder next.
And then the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one. Expect, guys, like every time there's a convention for a franchise champion to be announced. Just expect that.
If they made Deontay Wilder which is the name that people are throwing around, if they made him a franchise champion, that means they would make the WBC belt up for grabs, which means that Deontay Wilder really wouldn't be a heavyweight champ anymore because that's the only belt he has is the WBC. Like that would be weird. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a heavyweight champ, but he doesn't.
But
really
no. It's not. Nothing's changing. It's just a designation. Okay, there's no new belt. There's no new title. There's no stripping. It's just a designation.
Okay.
That I don't believe any of what I just said. That was obviously Mauricio Suleiman speaking. Yes.
No, if you want to see Mauricio Suleiman speaking, oh my God. That audio is epic.
The one that you sent me, should I play it?
Yeah, it's got name redacted on it, but
fuck him.
It is funny.
I can wait. I'll be petty. Fuck him.
Mauricio trying to explain
that. I've heard you ever be petty about name redacted, Matt. Like you've always handled it better than the best.
Well, man, he's going to Cancun on like Border Wars money, man. Like, come on, man, get the fuck out of here. That's my friend's money too. Like, stop taking advantage of people, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, that's not cool. If you give you money for Border Wars, right? It's like if you give money to a politician to run the campaign and they take a vacation. It's like, wait a second. That's not cool at all.
Basically, in a nutshell, he was asked about how can it be undisputed if the guy with the other belts or whatever can't also become undisputed because you cannot. He's saying it can't be because he hasn't got the belt anymore. He's just the franchise. And he said, no, he is the champion of the WBC. So therefore, that carries him as if he is he's representing the WBC in the undisputed fight. And then he was kind of backed into a corner. It's like, but say it's Teofimo Lopez with the IBF belt. He can't become undisputed. Only the franchise champion can become a undisputed champion because Teofimo can't take that.
You mean Haney?
No, he's on about Loma being made. So, Lomachenko would be fighting Teofimo Lopez for the. But Haney having the WBC belt, according to Suleiman, doesn't matter. Lomachenko can fight for the undisputed because he's the champion of the WBC, like of the world. I don't know, but he then said, "But so how can it be if Teofimo, if a franchise champion cannot lose that distinction, Teofimo in that undisputed fight has no opportunity to become the undisputed champion because win, lose, or draw, Loma will still be the franchise champion. And he said, so how is that an undisputed fight? And he ended up going all 5-year-old and went, it just is.
Guys, it's very clear the WC have not thought this out other than, hey, it's another belt we can throw on people or a designation we can throw on people and then collect another sanctioning fee from them.
You can't have a sanctioning fee on all the money from a WBC franchised fight goes towards the clean boxing program and the weight cutting program. The WBC do not see any of that money.
So they do.
No, he said it from his own mouth.
Yeah, they put it back into their own programs.
Take it to the bank then. Yeah, it's the gospel.
And the program that averages the program that averages out to $40 worth of money for testing fighters per month.
I'm sorry if my trolling attempts of sarcasm wasn't picked up and you felt
it was, but I'm upset.
Oh, okay. But Mauricio would like to point that out in that clip I sent earlier. Well, there was actually a longer one that I shut that clips even shorter for the show, but later on in there he explains that all money from a franchise champions fight goes to those things and nothing else. Whatever that means.
Can we move on? I want to talk about Usyk. Can we get off the absurdity of WBC? I want to talk about Usyk.
He should be a franchise champion, though, right?
What was that?
Shouldn't he be a franchise champion?
Yeah, he held the WBC belt for several days, probably months even.
He's got a longer history than Loma. But anyway, Usyk, carry on, Gary.
You guys were both kind of saying that he should take an in-between fight, which okay, I see I see the argument for that, but like, what's the point? He could already beat all the champions at heavyweight, so why waste time? I get it. I understand the argument. Like, let him be a top 15 guy like Chisora, and then step up and fight the top guys in the weight class. But why, when he can already beat them?
Well, I think that's a big if and a big can. He can beat them. It's possible that he could beat them. If he beats them, it's not. Oh yeah, he beats them. And that distinction has shifted because it was, oh, he beats them, and now it's, oh no, he could, and that's important.
I don't see it. Like, you take the Fury, Wilder, AJ, and Ruiz. None of those guys can beat him.
What? Wait, hold on. Wait, Gary, you need to get your statement straight here because you've switched it up. You just said that none of those guys can beat him. So, do you either think Usyk does for sure dominate the top four, or do you think he just can and it's a possibility? Make up your mind, please, so I can know what I'm arguing here.
No. I made up my mind. I said on the last show that he runs buck wild through the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I don't know. You're wrong.
Oh, I'm not. The next guy that
Marius Briedis arguably beat Usyk. Michael Hunter gave him issues.
He did not arguably.
Rob, hold on, Gary. Rob, what was your scorecard for Briedis Usyk?
On first watching, I had Briedis winning by a round, and on watching it again, I got it a draw.
So, I'm sorry, Gary. The guy that has
put hands. Briedis put hands on.
Briedis put hands on Usyk.
Yeah.
Briedis touched him up.
Yeah.
Usyk struggled.
Witherspoon didn't.
No. He did, but just Briedis did more. And Briedis didn't get knocked out. That's the difference. No, I'm sorry, Gary. Like, I think the narrative about Usyk needs to slightly shift. Like he's not the dominant force. Just like Loma. Like I don't think Loma is gonna dominate everyone as people think he does. Like the Campbell fight was kind of competitive. Even the Pedraza fight was competitive. You know, like people need to sort of.
Campbell is a far better boxer than anyone in the heavyweight division. Far better. Like there's no one with the skill set of Luke Campbell in the heavyweight division. There's just not. Like, there's good heavyweights, but Luke Campbell is an excellent boxer. Like, Ruiz is good. He's got power. He's pretty quick. You know, Fury's got good skill, but he gets hit too much. AJ's way too mechanical, and he can't handle speed. And Wilder has got major flaws. Like, no one in the heavyweight division is as skilled and as fundamentally sound as Luke Campbell.
Sure, man. Shout out to Igloo in the chat. Super chat. See you, Igloo. Thank you.
I see that. Okay, you don't want to respond to that. Is there anyone in the heavyweight division as skilled a boxer as Luke Campbell?
No, but I think that's like the norm. I think as you get lower, as you get lower in weight class, you get more technical boxers because power is less important. Like that's an obvious thing.
When you get a guy who's heavyweight size like Usyk, who has the skill and mobility of a guy of a small weight class, he's gonna run through that. He's gonna run through the heavyweight division.
But Joseph Parker has good boxing ability. Dylan White has good boxing ability. Tyson Fury has good boxing ability. AJ has good boxing ability. Even Andy Ruiz has good boxing ability. Like I don't see Usyk being so levels above these guys that he's going to dominate them, or you can even predict that right now. He didn't dominate even cruiserweight in a way. Like he almost lost against Briedis, for God's sake. He dominated Gassiev in that fight, but he didn't dominate the division. Michael Hunter wasn't a dominant performance.
I'm going to go back and watch the Briedis fight because I had it like 9-3. I was shocked how close the scorecards was.
No, it's a closer
fight. When I watched it wasn't in English. I'm going to go back and watch it. That's this week's
what, the punches weren't in English?
It was close. It was competitive, but like I thought Usyk was winning the rounds.
Why do you need English to tell if someone's winning a fight?
I don't know. You ever watch the fight in Russian or whatever?
I don't know.
It'll throw you off. It'll throw you off a little bit. Like
That's great, Gary. I just love that you. I don't know. I just need help.
I need Jim Lampley to tell me that every shot that Manny Pacquiao throwing is landing right on the mark. I need that.
Yeah. We all need guidance. So when's the fight, Gary? Tomorrow?
No, today.
It's tomorrow. I gotta head down to the weigh-in starts in a little bit. I'm gonna head down there now. So
ignore Matt. He's like the worst friend ever. He don't know where you are, what you're doing, when anything is. You've probably told him, and he's just fucking ignored.
You know how many times Rob has told me his like what he does when he goes picks like apple trees in Scotland, and I just still say he's picking apple trees or planting apple trees in Scotland. I have no idea where he's at technically, what he's really doing. He's told me dozens of times. It seems like
Matt's running the premier boxing podcast in the world. He's got more important things to do than worry about where low-level employees are. Okay, don't. Matt's fine. Matt's got more important stuff.
I'm fine.
I'm fine, guys. Fine.
Doesn't matter where I am. All right, I'll be back on Saturday.
Thank you, Gary.
Enjoy the fights, man.
Yeah,
tomorrow
enjoy the fights.
In Reno.
Yeah.
Enjoy the fights, Gary. We're gonna head out here. I'm tired. I'm hungry. Rob.
Yes.
Sanctioning body bullshit. Anyways, guys, you can find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms on social media. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio to help support the channel in any financial way. And when you do subscribe, hit that notification bell. Do that. Trust me, it helps. Helps us, helps you. Help us help you, if you get my drift. Rob, final thoughts. Let people know where to find you.
UK Rob, MCR, Instagram and Twitter. Give me a follow. Send any, my DMs are there, so send any clips of audio you might want putting on an intro for the show, anything like that, or just send me bits or certain fights or post-fight interviews or anything like that you want maybe putting on an intro, because sometimes I just like to make them just to see what's going on, see how good they can be. But yeah, like Matt said, share the show, thumbs up, all that stuff. Make us the franchise boxing podcast on Apple iTunes by leaving us a 5-star review, that kind of thing, But yeah, WBC conventions, what are you gonna do? They always provide one way or another.
They do. It's true.
They do. But yeah, thanks everybody. Catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
Fuck you and fuck boxing, brother.